everybody. I'm Pastor Kim, and I want to welcome you to our second week of Lexington United Methodist Church Virtual Sunday School. And actually, you know what? I want to welcome you back. If you have joined us last week, some of you already have seen one lesson, and if you remember that lesson from the first week, we talked about choices and making God choices, making choices for the benefit of others, and making choices with humble hearts. And then we talked about a story with Danny and how he made some bad choices, but also some good choices. So this morning, we are going to talk about compassion. And we know about compassion because of God's love. Each one of us has experienced God's love, and because of that, we can share compassion with others. And so I want to share the story with you and share a little bit about what we're going to do for our project this week. But I also want to introduce you to a new friend of mine. She did not join us last week. This is Kylie. Hi, Kylie.
Hey.
Glad to have you here this morning and to talk to us about compassion and God's love. So thanks for being here.
Hey, you're welcome. I made this thing that I wanted to show you. It took me a really long time to make.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I love the color because red is my favorite color.
Can I see it?
Hi, Sarah Lynn. Oh my gosh, this is not good.
Sarah Lynn, I'm so frustrated with you. It took me forever to make.
We're going to have to do something about this to not make it so unpleasant. I've got a story out of the Bible that I want to tell you, and I'll read that to you, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how we can make a good choice about what happened here today. All right? Just share a seat with me, and the scripture lesson for today is out of the Gospel book of Luke, and it's chapter 10, verse 27, just one verse, and it says this. It says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Love your neighbor as yourself. So let me ask you, Kylie, are you loving Sarah Lynn right now?
No.
Probably not, right? It's hard to love your neighbor right now because of what happened over there, right? With your project? Yeah. Well, last week we looked at the character of our book named Danny. And I don't know if you remember, Sarah Lynn, you were here. Do you remember what happened with Danny?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. He started off with not making a very good choice with his brother because he got mad at his brother,
Yes.
right? And so then they kind of worked that out after he made a better choice. And then the next thing that was happening was they were going to go to the park, right?
And they were going to make a lemonade stand, but then he squirted him in the eye.
Right. Yes, Danny squirted himself in the eye. Says, "The juice squirts right into my eye," Danny says. And then he says, "Ow, it stings." And he started to cry. And then Danny says, "And my brother Charlie started laughing at me," which is not very nice, right? So what do you think Danny should do, especially if he's trying to share compassion?
Forgive them.
Forgive him, right,
And
right.
Try to try to blink it. Or
Blink it out so that it doesn't hurt? Right. Well, let's see what choice that Danny made, okay? Let's see if he made the choice for compassion. So as we pick up the story, it says, "Ow!" Charlie yells. He stomps back on my foot and tries to grab me. "Meanie!" I yell. "Rah!" Charlie roars. I push him off of me, but my super muscles are too strong. He bumps into the lemonade, and it spills everywhere. Oh, man. Now I can't have a lemonade stand. Mommy comes in and looks at the mess. "He started it, and he's the one who knocked it over," I say. "He pushed me," Charlie yells. Mommy frowns. "You boys have to clean up this mess together, or we won't even be going to the park." So I would say that was not a very good choice, right?
Right.
The first choice that Danny made was not very good. And because we have experienced God's great love for us, we can learn how to make a compassionate choice. And so that's what I want to share with you now is Danny making the compassionate choice toward his brother. All right? You ready to hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
"Laughing at me isn't nice," I tell Charlie. Mommy is happy I used my words to let Charlie know how I feel. She helps me rinse my eye, kind of like you said, Sarah Lynn, and the sting slowly goes away. I finish making the lemonade, and Mommy lets me have a whole glass. That makes my eye feel even better. So we get to the park, and Charlie runs off to play. At first, no one wants my lemonade. But then a great idea pops into my head. I use my laser beam focus to turn the plain lemonade into super lemonade. Look at that, he's making super lemonade. I shout as loud as I can, "Fresh squeezed super lemonade, only 50 cents. Drink some and get a superpower for the day." My idea works. After an hour, I have just 1 cup left. I see a girl running towards me. I use my mind reading ability to see that she wants a superpower of her own. But then, oops, she trips and she knocks my table down. The last cup of lemonade spills all over my shirt. Danny's just not having a very good day, is he?
No.
He's facing another choice that he has to make in regard to compassion and forgiving others. And that's one of the things, again, that our scripture lesson teaches us, that because of the love that we know. Have you guys felt God's love in your life? Yeah? All right. Well, because we feel that love, then that's something that we can share with others, right? And that's one of the ways that we practice compassion. We are to love God with everything that we have and in every way that we can. And one way we can do this is by showing love to others. So on your project over there, Kylie, Sarah Lynn, tell me how you might be able to fix that.
Maybe I can help her make it again.
Okay, that's a good idea. And how can you show compassion towards Sarah Lynn, especially because of what happened?
I can forgive her and allow her to help me with it as well.
Very good. That's great. Yeah. And again, that's a great way to show God's love to each other and love each other as neighbors. I want to talk about a couple of questions for everybody at home to be able to think of this week. And these questions are going to be on your screen at home, but just some self-reflection things. What does it mean to show compassion to others? And how has God shown compassion to you in your life? And one way is by sending Jesus so that we could be forgiven, just like you talked about in regard to practicing forgiveness towards Sarah Lynn. And then a last reflection question is, when is a time that you can show compassion to someone in your family or your friend or someone at school? All right. Now, the project for this week, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be building, kind of like the project over there on the floor, but it's an activity, and it's called a paper chain of kindness. And this is what it looks like. See there? And everybody is invited to construct a paper chain of kindness. And there's some ideas on the screen that you can use to put together that paper chain. But we also have a challenge in regard to the paper chain. And that paper chain challenge is that throughout the week, we want you to see how long you can make this paper chain, like how many links you can put on this paper chain. And you have until next Sunday to do that. And then whoever makes the longest paper chain will get a special prize. And how we'll know who is the winner is that we're going to ask you to take a picture of your paper chain. You hold in the paper chain and letting us know how many links are in that paper chain, and then we'll know who is the winner. All right? Mm-hmm. So we'll do that for this coming week. Thank you again for joining us this week, and as we talked about compassion and as we looked at ways to practice compassion and to share God's love with each other. Hope to see you next week.
Your feet, you're the only one I need. I turn to you and you are always there. In troubled times it's you I see. I put you first, that's all I need. A humble live by faith and not by sight. For you, we're living on for